What's up, fellow readers? I hope this video finds you well. If you're new to my channel, then welcome, and if you're not, then welcome back. So I went to the comic book store yesterday, and I got a bunch of new issues to read, some of which I had heard about before, and others that I had never even heard of. And I felt like this could be a good place to just give like a brief, chill, laid-back review of what I've been reading lately and just give my thoughts on them. I feel like this could be a really good format to try out, both for people who are into comic books and want to hear what other people are saying about some of the stuff they're reading, but also for people who are just generally interested in comic books and don't really know where to start. And I feel like if I cover anything that I recommend or that sounds interesting to you, then you can use that as a good jumping off point to get into the genre as a whole. So I'll kind of just go over what I've read, and if anything stuck out to me, and if I would continue reading it. Because I feel like that's the general rule with comic books. If I take an issue off the shelf and I like it, really the only metric for success is if I would pick up the next one. So that's going to be kind of the bar that I hold all of these to. And the first one that I checked out was Black Cloak. I had not heard about this one before, but when I was paying for it, the cashier had told me how much he loved it. This one's kind of a fantasy cop story, but there are some sci-fi elements rolled into it. All we really know about this city that everyone lives in is that it's the last city on Earth. It has a bunch of technology, like smartphones and electronics, but this also seems to be a world that's filled with magic. And this one was the first issue in the series, and I think that it served as like a really good introduction to this world. Our main character is a magical cop who wears a black cloak, so all of the cops in this world are called Black Cloaks. And they come across the dead body of the Crown Prince, and their murder investigation starts to spiral out from there. So who killed this guy? Why did they do it? And how do all the clues that they're finding connect? But also our main character has a personal romantic history with the victim. So there's a lot of like spicy personal drama that's going on here. I thought that the world building was really interesting and the art was beautiful, and I'm really into the mystery that they're setting up here in this first issue. So I think I'm definitely going to be checking this one out. If you're into subversions of the fantasy genre or just having fantasy elements in a more modern world, then this would definitely be one to check out. The next one I checked out was Inferno Girl Red, and this is a superhero book that's set in the Massiveverse, which is a comic book universe that was started in 2021 with the release of Radiant Black. I go back and forth with the Massiveverse because I'm a huge Radiant Black fan, and so that means that I would likely be a Massiveverse fan. But I think specifically with this shared universe, sometimes I feel like there's not a lot of connective tissue between the two books. And what I mean by that is that you can really read any of these titles, like Inferno Girl Red, without having any knowledge of the rest of the universe. And that's really good for making any of these books a good entry point for new readers. You don't have to know all of the history of the shared universe to enjoy Inferno Girl Red. But I think that that's the tug of war when you're building a comic book universe. You know, if you make all of this stuff too interconnected, then people are going to be so confused when they try and find a place to start. But if they're not interconnected enough, then you run the risk of people not being interested at all in this universe you're trying to build. If I don't need to read any of the other material, then what makes this a shared universe? Why should I care? But beyond all of that, I loved Inferno Girl Red. This was probably my favorite one of this current haul that I read. It's super snappy, it's super fast-paced. I love the character design and all of the artwork, and this one sets up a really good reluctant hero. I know that some people get annoyed with reluctant heroes and want them to kind of get there sooner so that we can explore more interesting concepts, but I'm really interested in this book, and there's already 2 issues out with the third one on its way this month. So this is absolutely one that I'd recommend to check out if you're into superheroes but not really interested in the mainline DC or Marvel stuff. The next one that I checked out was Blue Book by James Tynion IV. I think that at this point, James Tynion is most well known for his horror action series called Something is Killing the Children. I'm a bit behind on Something is Killing the Children, but I really enjoy this, And so at this point, anything with his name on it, I'll try and get. I liked this one quite a bit. It's a classic alien abduction horror comic set in the 1960s. And while this concept is super interesting, I don't know if this issue had enough meat on it to really get me excited for the second one. It doesn't really end on any crazy cliffhangers. And while the art is good and the concept is strong, I don't know if I'm really waiting with bated breath for the second issue. Maybe I'll check it out, but maybe I'll give this one a pass. But speaking of horror, I checked out Phantom Road, issue number 1 by Jeff Lemire. I at least know Jeff Lemire the best from reading Sweet Tooth, which I love, which is a really good, gritty, post-apocalyptic horror drama. So far, the concept for Phantom Road is a little vague. It's about a truck driver who comes across a car crash and then gets transported to this like creepy mystery world. This world is super desolate, but it has like these zombie ghouls roaming around in it, and it has a pretty action-packed ending that really gets you excited for issue 2. I have no idea where this is gonna go, but I'm really excited to see where it does. If you're not into violence or horror, then maybe give this one a pass. But if you are, this is a really good one to check out, and I definitely recommend it over something like Blue Book, even though I enjoyed both of them. And the last one that I checked out wasn't new to me, and it's definitely in the core line of titles that I try and buy every month. But I checked out the latest issue of Saga, which is issue 62. If you haven't read Saga, I highly recommend it. Not only is it one of the most important comic books of the 2010s, it remains one of the most popular titles to this day. Even though we're on issue 62, it's never a bad time to jump in, and we've still got plenty of time until the series is over. I think there's going to be 108 issues total, and we're on 62, so there's still plenty of time and space for you to get into Saga. I don't really know where this current arc is going, but that's kind of the beauty of Saga, where you never really know what's going to happen next. Can't recommend this one enough. Definitely give it a try if you've been putting it off for some time. So that's the end of what I checked out this week. If you've got like $4 or $5 to spend and you're looking for my recommendation on what you should check out, I would definitely recommend Inferno Girl Red. It's tons of fun, you're getting in on the ground floor, and it looks like it's going to turn out to be a great superhero story. But beyond that, if you are interested in sci-fi or subversive takes on fantasy, then Black Cloak is definitely one to check out. And if you're more into horror, then I would absolutely recommend Phantom Road by Jeff Lemire. But if you're looking for a second issue, then Blue Book is another great one to check out. But that's all for this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. And if you've checked out any of the titles that I mentioned in this video, let me know down in the comments below what you thought of them. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. But until I see you next time, have a good one.